Welcome back to Be Creative Stamping and my Be Creative tip of the week. Today I'm going to show you how I organize my stamping sponges. Here's one of the stamping sponges. You can find them in the annual catalog on page 200, and this catalog is the 2017-18 catalog. So this catalog will expire May 31st, 2017. But don't worry, the stamping sponges will also be in the new catalog. First thing that I do is to cut the sponge into quarters. So let me do that for you. Okay, just like this. And I'm just taking my fingers and just kind of opening it up. Okay, just like this, all the way across, okay? And we do it one more time, and it doesn't matter which way, but I'll start here, and it's just in the center, okay? And by doing this, I'm going to get 4 sponges out of 1 sponge. And by the way, the stamping sponges in the catalog, when you order them, you'll get 3 whole sponges in the package. Now that the sponges are cut, I'm going to show you how I label my sponges. First of all, I'm going to use a binder clip, and I believe this size is medium. Okay, so it's a medium binder clip. We're going to use cardstock, the color that's going to be associated with the sponge, and then we are going to add a label on the front as well. And so the first thing we'll start with is labeling the clip, and you are going to need to cut your cardstock, and it's 11/16 of an inch by 1 1/4 inches. I do want to show you these measurements with my Stampin' Trimmer. We have an odd one here. It's 11/16 of an inch, and so I do want to show you that. And this is the 11/16 inch right there. Okay, so on our Stampin' Trimmer, this is a 1/2 inch. This is 5/8 of an inch. And this tiny little line here is 11/16 of an inch. And this is 3/4 of an inch. And so it's a really tough one to do, but of course I want my paper to fit absolutely perfectly on that clip, okay? So that's where I would cut that one. Now you could make it 5/8 of an inch if you want and cut it there. And you can also make it the 3/4 of an inch if you want, and it'll just be a little tall on the clip. And then of course that 1 1/4 inch is right here. There's 1 inch and 1 1/4 inches. So when you're cutting your cardstock, you're going to want to cut 2 in each color. You need a color on the front and one on the back of the clip. Now we're ready to label our clip, and so I'm going to show you 2 samples now. This one is Mossy Meadow, and by the way, this color's coming back on June 1, 2018. You'll notice that I have centered the label on top of the cardstock and trimmed the edges. And if you turn around on back, you're going to also see that same cardstock color. Okay, then we have some color names that are really long, like Blackberry Bliss or Rich Razzleberry. So again, you'll center the label on the cardstock and then you'll trim. So you're going to notice sometimes you're going to have this little line and sometimes you're not. And it really depends on your label machine and what how you decide to label it. So I'm going to show you my label machine. It's a P-Touch and it's several years old. So if you go out to look for one of these, you're probably going to find an updated version. I'm going to turn the P-Touch on and I'm going to go over to Deco mode and click that. And for my sponges with the clips, I like to use number 13, okay? And you'll see what it looks like here. So I've hit design 13, all right? And then I'm going to click OK. And the label length is automatic. We're going to work on mint macaron. So you'll see that I've already typed in the mint, and that's the first name of the color. I'm going to hit OK. And then the macaron is the second name of the color, and that'll be on the second line. So I'll hit OK. And now I am going to print, and we're going to wait for this to print out. Okay, it did print out just fine. And so now we're going to add it to our little piece of cardstock. I'm going to peel the paper off. All right, and then I am going to just center this. I'm just going to kind of eye it. I'm not measuring. All right. Okay, so there we have it right there. And then I'm going to trim off the sides. I'm just going to run my paper snips right across this edge. And I'm going to do the same over here. Okay. And so now I have my title. So at this point, I am going to bring in my Tombow glue. And I am going to add some glue to the clip. Okay. And I'm going to stick this on. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that you can see what I am doing. Okay, and it just takes a few minutes to dry. All right. And then, of course, remember that second one that we cut? That is going to go on the back of the clip. All right. So we will attach that one there so it can be easily identified. I'm going to show you what I store these in just a second, okay? All right, so now that that's done, I'm ready to bring in 1/4 of that stamping sponge. So let me use my right hand. I'm going to bring that in, and I'm going to fit that right there. All right, and now when I want a sponge in mint macaron, I know exactly which sponge to use. Now, I store my sponges, let me zoom back out, in a jar. These were purchased from IKEA several years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago. But you're going to notice that I have my sponges here. Now, since I'm a demonstrator and teach classes, I always make 2 of each color. So please let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful. And thanks so much for buzzing by.